Science is full of experiments and it modifies itself from time to time. Hello everyone. The topic for today is gravitation. Gravitation is actually an invisible force, and that's why it took a lot of time in the past to actually define it. There were theories and hypotheses which were modified time to time, and that led to the development of the concept of gravitation. Let's discuss some of those theories. The very first theory was the geocentric theory. Now, what is this geocentric theory? It actually states that it was believed in the past that Earth is actually at the center of the solar system and all the planets along with the sun are revolving around it. This theory was proven false and a new theory came into existence, and that was the heliocentric theory. The heliocentric theory states that the sun is actually at the center of the solar system and all the planets are revolving around it. But still there was one question, and that question was why the planets are revolving around the sun. There must be some kind of force of attraction between the sun and the planets, and this question was finally resolved by the universal law of gravitation. It states that suppose there are two masses in this universe. One is the first mass m1, second mass m2, and if they are at a distance of r, then the universal law of gravitation states that two bodies in this universe are attracted towards each other by a force of gravitation which is directly proportional to the product of their masses and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. Let's understand the derivation of its formula. Let F be the force of gravitation. So the universal law of gravitation states that this force of attraction is directly proportional to the product of the two masses. Let M1 and M2 be the two masses. So that's why this force of attraction is directly proportional to the product of the two masses. At the same time, this force of attraction is inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. Let r be the distance between the center of the two bodies, and that is why this force of attraction is inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. If we combine these two equations, then we get one equation, that is F is proportional to m1 m2 upon r square. And finally, by removing this sign of proportionality, we will introduce a constant into the system and we will get the final formula that F is equal to capital G m1 m2 upon r square. So this is the formula for the force of gravitation which is derived. Now you all must be thinking, what is this capital G here? This capital G is universal gravitational constant. It is actually a constant whose value does not vary in this entire universe. Now the question is, what will be its value? Its value is 6.67 into 10 to the power minus 11 Newton meter square per kg square. Now you all must be thinking that how do we actually got the unit of this universal gravitational constant? Okay, let's derive the unit of universal gravitational constant. So this is the formula for force of gravitation which we have already derived. Now what we simply need to do is, let's make this capital G as the subject and see what will be the formula then. So capital G will be equal to F multiplied by R square whole divided by M1 into M2. Now simply what we have to do is, let's substitute the individual units of all the elements present here. What is the unit of force? And that is Newton. What is the unit of distance? It's meter, but its distance is square, so the unit will be meter square. Whole divided by, what is the unit of mass? It's kg, but here it is mass into mass, so that is why this will be kg square. And this is how we can easily derive the unit of universal gravitational constant, and that is Newton meter square per kg square. Okay, so let's move on to the next topic. Now before the actual development of the universal law of gravitation, there was one question in everyone's mind, and that question was why the planets are revolving around the sun. At the same time, why the moon is revolving around the earth. Is it because of the same reason, or that is something different? Now, this question was actually answered by universal law of gravitation. And that proved that there is a force of gravitation between the sun and all the other planets, which is binding all of them with the sun. At the same time, there is the same force of attraction, the force of gravitation of earth, which is attracting the moon, and that is why it is revolving around the earth. So this is the importance of universal law of gravitation. Universal law of gravitation was able to answer why the planets are revolving around the sun, and it was also able to answer why the moon is revolving around the earth.
Okay, so let's move on to the next topic. Let's take an example of a body which is falling towards the earth's surface. The point which we need to understand is every second its velocity will keep on increasing. Okay, with every passing second its velocity will increase as it moves towards the earth's surface. The reason is very simple. It's actually the pull of the gravitation which is increasing the velocity of the body. Now, if the velocity of the body is increasing with respect to the time period, then that means there is an acceleration which is taking place. And if this acceleration is because of the gravitational pull of the earth, we say this acceleration is due to gravity. It is denoted by small g. So, what is a small g? Small g is actually the acceleration due to gravity. So, this is what we need to understand, what is a small g. And at the same time, we have already studied one more letter, and that was capital G. Now, what was this capital G? Capital G was universal gravitational constant. So, we need to understand the differences between them. Small g is the acceleration due to gravity, whereas capital G is the universal gravitational constant. The value of small g on earth is 9.8 meter per second square, and at the same time the value of capital G is 6.67 into 10 to the power minus 11 Newton meter square per kg square. We need to understand that this acceleration due to gravity is a vector quantity because the direction is also involved. But at the same time, when we talk about the universal gravitational constant, it is a scalar quantity. So, this was the difference between small g and capital G. There is one more major difference, and that is the value of small g varies from celestial body to celestial body. What is celestial body? Any body which is present in the space. So, this value 9.8, this is only on the earth, this is only at the earth, but when we talk about the other celestial body, this value can vary. But when we talk about this universal gravitational constant, its value can never vary at any celestial body. Its value is constant in this entire universe. So, I hope you have understood what is the difference between small g and capital G. Let us understand the difference between two more quantities. The first quantity is mass and the second quantity is weight. Let us understand the difference between them. Let us start with its definition. Mass is actually the amount of matter contained in a body. At the same time, weight is the force with which we are pulled towards the earth's surface. So, what is weight? It is actually a type of force. What is the unit of mass? It is kg. And what is the unit of weight? It is Newton. At the same time, let us understand which of them is a scalar quantity and which is a vector quantity. Mass is a scalar quantity because we do not see any role of direction here, but weight, it is a vector quantity because we see that the direction is involved. It is actually a force with which we are pulled downwards. So, if the direction is involved, it is a vector quantity. So, this was the difference between mass and weight. Moving forward to the next topic, and the next topic is free fall. Let us take an example of a body. This is a body, and let us say it is falling towards the earth's surface. Now, it is very obvious that this body will be under influence of different types of forces, but let us just assume that it is moving towards the earth's surface only under the influence of gravity. Then that case will be termed as free fall. So let's revise it again. What is free fall? If a body is falling towards the earth's surface, towards the center of the earth, only under the influence of gravity, then that case is considered as free fall. Let's not forget that the word only is focused here, because we are neglecting all the types of other forces and we are considering that it is under the influence of only one force, and that is gravity. Now let's discuss more about the acceleration due to gravity. Let's take an example of a body which is on the earth's surface. The mass of the body is small m and mass of the earth is taken as capital M. The distance between the center of the earth and the body is considered as small r. So what is the formula for force of gravitation between these two bodies? It will be F is equal to capital G small m into capital M whole divided by r square. Now what we simply need to do is use the Newton's second law of motion, and the formula which we got from the Newton's second law of motion was F is equal to m into A. Force is equal to mass into acceleration, and in this case the acceleration is due to the gravity. So we will replace A with small g, and the final formula which we will be getting after replacement is F is equal to capital G small m into capital M upon r square. We substituted the value of force from the Newton's second law, and that was mass into acceleration. In this case the acceleration is due to the acceleration due to gravity. So the formula will be m into g is equal to capital G small m into capital M upon r square. Now if you look closely, we can cancel out two terms, small m and capital M, and the final formula for the acceleration due to gravity will be small g is equal to capital G capital M upon r square. Now what is so significant in this formula? Now we need to notice that the value of small g is dependent on universal gravitational constant, whose value is not going to change, mass of the earth, and the distance between the body and the earth. It is simply the radius of the earth. So nothing is gonna change here, and also the value of a small g does not depends on its own mass, and that is why the value of a small g for all of us is same, because these values are not going to change. The mass of the earth, the radius, universal gravitational constant, nothing is gonna change, and that is why the value of a small g on earth is fixed, and it is about 9.8 meter per second square.
Now just now we studied that the value of a small g is 9.8 meter per second square on earth, but in some special cases there are some slight variations in the value of acceleration due to gravity. There are actually two places, the first one at poles, the second one at equators. So there is a slight variation which we need to understand, and due to this variation in the value of a small g, there is a slight variation in the value of the weight also. Let's understand it here. So the shape of the earth is like it's flattened at the poles. Okay, it's actually flattened at the poles, and that is why there is a difference between the distance from the center to the poles and the center to the equators. Let's understand what happens at the poles. So the formula for the acceleration due to gravity on poles will be capital G into capital M upon r square. Now when we talk about the distance from the center to the poles, the value is slightly lesser. And if the value of r is slightly lesser, then due to the inverse relationship between small g and r, the value of small g increases. I again repeat, due to the slight decrease in the value of small r, there is a slight increase in the value of small g. Now the formula for weight is W is equal to m into g. Now if the value of g increases, the value of weight also increases, and this is what we need to understand. At poles, the weight of the body is slightly heavier. Okay, at poles the weight of the body is slightly higher. Why? First of all, the distance from the center to the poles is slightly lesser, due to which the value of a small g increases. Now if the value of a small g increases, the weight of the body also increases. Now let's discuss the second case. Again the same formula is at the equators. Small g is equal to capital G, capital M upon r square, where capital M is the mass of the earth and r is the radius of the earth. Now when we talk about the distance from the center to the equator, the distance is slightly greater. Okay, the value of r is slightly greater in this case. And due to the inverse relationship between small g and small r, the value of small g slightly decreases. Now what is the formula for weight? It is actually W is equal to M into G. Now if the value of G decreases, the value of weight will also decrease. So this is the inference which we are getting, that is the weight of the body slightly decreases at the equators. So this is all in the variation of the value of acceleration due to gravity on earth. And that's all in the gravitation. We'll discuss the next topic in the next video. Thank you everyone and have a good day.